Hi, everybody. Hopefully you can see my screen and you can see our beautiful faces today. I have Jason here with us. We are doing today, our webinar is on digital marketing for designers. If you don't know me already, my name is Lindsay Paoli. I'm the Director of Sales and Marketing at Design Manager. I've been with the company for 13 years now. I started as the sales coordinator and eventually got up to owning a piece of the company. And then recently, just last year, we actually became part of a bigger company called firstdibs.com. So there's been a lot of exciting stuff that we've been up to. But why are we doing this webinar today? We're doing this because obviously digital marketing is becoming very, very essential. And we at Design Manager really believe and are dedicated to growing interior design businesses, and marketing plays a huge part in that. We had recently a really great high point panel, which centered around things so similar to this topic, where if you want to gain time to do interior design, you need to have strong marketing tactics in play for your business. And then obviously, Jason has amazing energy and amazing experience too. So let's start talking about Jason. He has done so many things already, and he has over 20 years of experience in the architecture industry. He has done projects in the residential space, in the commercial space, with small budgets, large budgets. He has, in addition to his practical experience, he's actually studied and taught at a few different universities, LSU being one of them. He made it to associate professor. And you know what? He has worked at architecture firms. He's worked at interior design firms. He's owned his own architecture firm, and he's taught interior design. He's worked with interior designers for years. So his experience is so specific to this industry and has so many wonderful aspects to his viewpoint. And now he's the CEO of his company, Kitchen and Bath Marketing Solutions, where they're really focusing on digital marketing for everything in the design space. And their strong point specifically is SEO. So he is here, and we are very excited to have you. Thank you, Jason, for joining us.
Wow,
Um,
Lindsay, I didn't know who you were talking about. I was like, are you talking about me? Thank you for having me here, and I'm happy to be here with everyone.
Great. Yes, we're so excited. We have just a little bit of an agenda today to go through. We wanted to provide as much value as possible. That's what we're all about. So we're just going to do a quick slide on why digital marketing, and then Jason's really going to take over and drive from there. And he's going to talk to you about 10 digital marketing ideas that you can implement. Two tips that you can implement right now. Actually, he has even more than just two. So there's going to be so much value here. And then we're actually going to open it up to a Q&A and have some contest winners too. So the questions, if you could just type them into the questions pane or the chat throughout. So if he's talking about a blog, he's talking about email marketing, he's going to go through the gamut. But if you have questions about any of that, please just type it in there as we go along, and we're going to address all those at the end. And I think for the contest winners, you just have to stay on until the end, because we're going to do 3 winners for Jason's audiobook. And then he also is giving away 1 hour free implementation sessions as well. And again, it'll be 3 winners, and you just have to stay till the end when we're going through the Q&A around that time. So very quickly, just some really quick stats before I turn it over to Jason. Digital marketing was important before COVID, but now it's become very much essential. Luxury home sales are increasing by 44%. We're hearing designers left and right tell us how they're getting busier than ever. Their clients are spending their vacation funds on their homes now. Online shopping is increasing by 28% across industries. And the household space specifically is right around that, right below that average as well. So right there with it. But really, to gain exposure and to get in front of these clients willing to spend, you have to put yourself out there online. And here to help us today to understand how to do that is Jason. So Jason, you can go ahead and take it away. I will give you the controls right now.
Okay.
Hopefully you can see.
Can you see my screen now?
Yes.
Okay. So let's see. Okay. So
Beautiful.
happy to be here with everybody. These are 10 tips or 10 marketing ideas that we're going to talk about that we actually help our own clients with. And like Lindsay said, I've been in the industry for over 20 years. I've taught in architecture, taught in interior design, have my own architecture firm. And also how I had got into this is one of the interior designers that we worked with. We had did some marketing for her about 8 years ago, and then she referred us some other clients. And then after a while, we had so many interior design clients and remodeling clients that we were working with. We said we need to open up a whole new division that just handles marketing. And so that's how we had opened this up. And that was in 2012, 2013. So I'm going to be talking about marketing tips that we use with our own clients that are tried, true, and tested that we do for our own clients all the time. So let's start. So the first one, which I would hope and I assume everybody on here has a website. And one thing you want to make sure is that your website is mobile optimized and it's easy to use, user friendly. So, and on all of the tips that I have is we're going to have some, as you can see right here, we're going to have a quick implementation tip just to help you to implement some of this, because when we do webinars, when we talk, we like to not just explain and talk. We like to give action steps to say, okay, this is something that you can implement now. And one of the things, like I said, with website, that is where the end user sees who you are, they see your projects, they learn about your business, and you want to make sure that your website is mobile optimized because 80% of search starts on a mobile device. So you want to make sure it is mobile optimized. And one of the things that I don't know how much you know about Google algorithm now, speed is a big factor in terms of how they rank and how they show your website. So one of the tips in terms of web design is we have a website that we use. It's called GT Metrics, and you can put your website into that site and it'll give you a list, and it'll also hand you a score from A to F. How fast is your website? And what you want to do, put your website in, is going to hand you a list of areas where you can enhance your website if you don't have an A. And if you have an F, it'll have suggestions in there on how you can enhance a lot of that. Usually one of the things we see a lot of, and I'm going to have this in, another slide, is images. Usually what we see with remodelers and interior designers is they have a lot of high resolution images, and that slows down the website. And so that's one of the main things that, without seeing any of your websites, I would assume that would be one of the issues, would be the images. And so that's where I will start. Did you have any questions before I head off to the next one, Lindsay?
So on the mobile friendly websites, are there certain pages that you've seen that do really well for interior designers? Like if you were to tell them, here, have a website, but you have to include X, Y, and Z, what would that be?
Okay. I would say what we see as a norm, the ones you have to have a home page, obviously. You should have a portfolio that shows your work. You should have who you are, or what we say, the about us, or who we are, something like that. You need to have a contact us, and we would recommend to have a testimonials, because when people are online, they're going to automatically know that you're going to say all good things about yourself, but they want to hear what your clients have to say. So if you have a lot of testimonials on there, that's what and if you can have video testimonials, that's even better than the written. So I would say if you don't have any other pages, have the home page, the about us, the portfolio, the testimonials, and the contact at a minimum. Oh, also services. I forgot. So 6. Those are the 6 that you should have at a minimum if you don't have any other page.
Okay, that's great. Yeah, we get that. We
Okay.
have had the question come up quite a bit about, you know, how should I structure it? How big does it need to be? Does it need to be big? You know, or does it need to just have what the main, you should have a main goal, whether it's lead gen or, you know, what you've been talking about. So that's great.
Right. And then also, even if you just have one page, landing page that has all of that information on one page, and you can slide down to each of those, that's really all you need. But you need to have some type of online presence. You do not want to rely on having just a Facebook profile or having house, because you don't own that property. So if anything happens, because what happened to one of our clients that only had a Facebook profile, they had a Facebook business profile, something happened where it got shut down. And so for a week, they were actually working with Facebook to get that page back up, because what happened, one of their employees, they had posted something that they were not supposed to post, and it got the whole account shut down. And so they were not online for a week. And so I say at a minimum, even if you don't have a full-blown website, at least have a landing page where you own the property at a minimum. Okay.
Yeah, very smart.
So, yeah. On the next tip, I would say have the website, but you should also have a blog. So this is where you can actually have your own information out there, because one of the ways that you get ranked on the search engines is by having, you know, authoritative content. And the content out there, this is where you could talk about what your style is, what your emphasis is, because you may have an emphasis on, you know, Mediterranean design, or you may be more into contemporary, or, you know, neoclassical, or, you know, whatever your style is, you can write about those type of things in your blog and really differentiate yourself from all the other designers out there. And one of the questions we're asked a lot is, what's a blog about? And what we blog about, because there's so many things that you could blog about. So that's the tip we have here. Answer the public. You could go to that website. You can type in either interior design, you could type in remodeling or whatever, and it will hand you what is the most searched keywords, or what are the questions that the end user are asking about that topic. So now you have an idea of what you need to write about, what you need to blog about, because now you actually have a list of things that the end user is actually typing in. And so you can write a blog around that area and your expertise, get it out there, and then they're actually drawn to your blog, drawn to your website. You're seen as the expert, and then they'll want to know more about who you are. That could become a prospect and hopefully a client.
So
Did
Jason,
we have any questions on the blog?
how do you feel about whether the interior designer themselves has to write the content, or if they could employ somebody else as like a ghostwriter or something? Like, is there a big difference? Is it easier to do it one way? Because it is a little time consuming. I've definitely heard a lot of that from our designers.
Right. Yeah, blogging can be time consuming if you have the time. I would say write a few of them yourself, but if you do not have the time, or just hire that aspect out. And what you would do is, when you hire somebody as either a ghostwriter or as your content writer, have them, you want to have them write for you, but you want to edit it and work with them. Show them, your terminology, how you write. And after a few blogs, after a few content aspects, they're going to learn your voice, and they'll be able to write on your behalf, because we actually write for a lot of our clients. So we do a lot of blogging for them. We do a lot of social media posting for them. And what happens, usually month one is all about learning their voice. It's all about learning how they talk, what they're used to. So our main content writer, her name is Aisha. So she'll write the blog, or she'll write the social media piece, share it with the client, have them give detailed information about, I don't like this, I like that. This is what you write more on. And so after, a few weeks, she usually learns their voice and she's able to write on their behalf after that. So, but
Yes.
if you have the time, I would say do it, but but if you do not have the time, hire it out. But you need to blog.
Yeah, but it's a good point. So be involved either with editing or very much in the beginning to
Mm-hmm.
learn that point of voice. Yeah, absolutely. Actually, I have a couple more questions about the blog, so I'm going to shoot them to you, Jason, right
Sure,
now. How
sure.
frequently do you recommend that people blog?
I would say as often as you can. At a minimum, I would say once a month. At a minimum, I would say you want to try to do 2 a month. If you can do once a week. Now, once a week can be a little much. That's probably honestly where you want to hire someone at that time, because I know most clients or most interior designers don't have the time to do once a week, but you want to try to do at least once a month at a minimum. Preferably, you want to do twice a month, and so that's a good area in there where you can get a lot of good information out, because the more information you have out there in the world, the easier it is for the end user to find out who you are and what you have to offer.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. What would be an appropriate length for a blog?
We usually suggest at minimum about 500 words minimum, and then you want to have more than that beyond that. But at a minimum, I would say have about 500 words.
Okay, great. That's all the questions that we have on the blog for right now, but it's great. These tips
Okay.
at the bottom are really good, Jason. So we can actually, Jason sent me these slides, so I'm happy to email them to everybody, so you can use these afterwards and click through to his tips.
Yeah, and we actually use Answer the Public for ourselves, for our own clients. And so even though we deal with interior designers and remodelers exclusively, each of the interior designers have their own specialty. Like I said, some may do Mediterranean, some may do classical, some may do contemporary, modern. And so we like to have in the terms just to have that in Answer the Public to see what the end user is actually typing in. What are they asking? So that helps us on our end create the type of content that we want to do. So a lot of these tips here we use on our own side as well. So, okay. Next one we have here is SEO. Now this one, I know a lot of the times the interior designers do not have time for this, because SEO, even though it's not hard, it can be time consuming because there's a lot. So SEO is really search engine optimization, and that's about being found in the search engines. And so what you want to do is, once you have your website and once you have the speed down, you want to optimize it in terms of the images. And what we have here for a tip, we actually have, because what I had talked about earlier on is what we find over and over again, especially with the interior designers on the portfolio page. Most of the images are high resolution, and that slows down the website. So if you head to this tip here, what we have here, tinyjpg.com, that's where you can actually enter in the images on your website. It'll shrink the size of the image, but it'll hold on to the image quality. Now, you don't want to print them out because you'll lose the quality if you actually print the image out. But if it's just only being viewed on either a mobile device or on a computer screen, you'll have the same image quality, but it'll be a smaller image. That way, that makes your whole website go a whole lot faster. And so this is, a site that we use for our own clients, but just, doing some small optimizations here and there. And also with the images, you want to geotag the images. And what the geotag means is you want to name it. So usually when you take a picture with your mobile device, it'll have a name MX001 and it'll have a whole lot of numbers. Once you download the image and you have it on your website, you want to name it. So if you're in Chicago, you may say Chicago interior design in the Hamptons area. So that's actually geotagging it to Chicago and the Hamptons area. And so if anyone in that, so if any end user in that area was to type in, interior design in the Hamptons area in Chicago, and they hit on images, your images will have more likelihood to pop up over your website. So just those small tips will help you in terms of SEO.
So what's a good place to start for this, Jason? This always was interesting to me, being a marketer. We used to start just by some brainstorming, with some of us in our company, and just saying like, hey, this is the likes and dislikes of, our target audience. And like, that's where you should go with putting some of this content in there. Or, what are other good ways to, start getting some of those keywords together?
I would say start honestly with your target audience. That will lay everything else out. If you can identify your avatar, your ideal client, if you and say who he or she is, where they work, and how they, what they do, what their interests are, why they may pick you over, another interior designer or remodeler. If you can actually define your ideal client or your avatar, that'll help you define how you need to develop your website, how you need to optimize it. The keywords you need to type in, that you need to optimize either your blog or the content on your site around, because now you're actually writing for your ideal client and you're not writing for everybody. Because we say in the marketing world, if you try to market to everyone, you're actually marketing to no one. So if you can define your target audience, then that'll help you with SEO, that'll help you with blogging, that'll help you with all of your marketing, because now you can actually develop your message around your ideal client or your avatar.
No, that makes a lot of sense. That's good. I don't think we have any other questions right now on SEO, but if anybody does, type them in and we can get back to them at the end during the general Q&A.
Okay. Next one, email marketing. Now, this is one that I hear a lot of angst about, because a lot of people say nobody looks at email anymore. I would argue that that's actually further from the truth. Email marketing is one of the best marketing methods that does not take a whole lot of time, and honestly, you don't have to pay a lot for this either. It's all about honestly building your email lists, and that's what we have as a tip here, is that you can easily start with, if you've been in the industry for over a year, you have a list. So you have past clients that you work with, you have current clients that you work with, you have associates that you work with. So you need to start an email list, because this is your own property that you own. So start an email list and start a monthly newsletter. If you don't take anything away from it, start a monthly newsletter, because what'll happen is over time, you're going to have people that you're going to be top of mind, and they will remember you and refer back to you. Because we have one interior design client that we've had for about 2 years, and she's been in business for over a decade. And I asked her if she ever did email marketing. And she said, yeah, I tried that, but it didn't work. And I asked her, how long did you do it? And she said, for a few months, about 3 or 4 months. I said, no. I said, let us take it over. I said, give us a year, give us some time, because this is long-term. It's not fast, it's long-term. So 6 months, for 6 months, we did an email newsletter every month. The open rates went up over time, because you have to optimize it in terms of, and this is one of the tips that we're going to talk about at the end, but you have to optimize it in terms of the header. so you can have an interesting header that they'll want to open it. And also you have to have tips in there and this also heads back to understanding who your audience is. Because if you have how-to tips or DIY tips that they're looking for, they're going to be looking for your email every month. Because 6 months in, every month we had sent the email off and the open rates went up every month. By month 6, she got her first sale just from email. 6 months, every month for 6 months after that, she got a sale every single month just off the newsletter. And it was not always from the end user that got the newsletter, oftentimes because we would check in to see how the sale came. A lot of the time, it was one of the past clients that they had opened the newsletter, and they may have talked about a countertop that they may have been, talking about a marble countertop that they were working on at the time. And then, their past clients said, my neighbor was actually looking at that same time. I'm going to actually mention them to you. They mentioned them to them, reached out to them, and it was a sale. So a lot of the time, it's not about just who's in your list. It's about who they know as well. Because if you're top of mind, a lot of times you may have something within the newsletter that's going to jog their memory or say, oh, I know this person that may do X, Y, Z. So that happens. That happens more often than not. And so that's why I said email newsletter. Honestly, for each of our clients, it takes us about a half hour to do the newsletter. So we've even taught some of our own clients to do their own newsletter in about a half hour for the month. Just get all of the information, use the 80-20 rule where it's 80% value, 20% self-promotion. And if you have a lot of value in there, you're going to get a lot of open rates. And over time, it will help, and it will help with sales. Not instantly, but over time.
That's so good. I like the 80-20 rule. I love that. I have two questions actually. So my question originally was going to be about a newsletter. And then you went into the newsletter, which is so great. But so do you find that newsletters are a really good way? Obviously you really like them, but are you also a fan of individual emails where it makes sense? What are some good examples, I guess, of individual emails that aren't newsletters?
Yeah, so there's some software out there that we use, and if you want to have access to it, just email me. I'll hand you my email at the end of this, so I'll hand you. But there's a lot of software out there where you can do a mass email to all of the people on your list and have it look like a personal email and not like a newsletter. Because a lot of the time when you send out a newsletter, everybody knows this is not meant for the individual person. It's meant for a mass audience. And when you do individual email, that takes time. But there is software out there where you could do a mass email and have it actually look like a personal email, but send it out to a lot of people at the same time and still have it seem like you had personalized it just to that individual client. So there are ways to do that. And like I said, if you want to have access to that, just let me know and I'll send you. Because there's a lot of options out there, but I'll let you know some of the options we use for that.
Okay. These are really great questions that are coming in. This is fantastic. What would be in a newsletter that wouldn't be in your blogs? And that's really funny from my perspective, because that's actually exactly how we use our blog, is that our newsletter basically just our blog posts. So we do a monthly version and it'll be 4 blog posts, and that's basically our newsletter. And we'll put a banner at the bottom, we'll put a banner at the top probably. So I'd love to hear your opinion though.
Well, we do it honestly both ways. So some of our clients, they have us use the blog as the newsletter because a lot of the times, like you said, you can have the blog. If the blog, now this is a caveat, if the blogs are value oriented, that is if your blogs are value oriented. If your blogs are actually self-promotion, I would say don't do that. But if your blogs are value-oriented, then you can, double dip in that realm. But how you can actually make it different is that with our own newsletter, what we do is we only highlight one of the blogs of the blogs that had the most interest for that month. We'll highlight that, and then we'll do a DIY tip. So what's huge and what's big, and I'm gonna talk about this a little later, video marketing, and then I'm gonna talk about the STEM. But if you can have any type of DIY tips or any type of, or what you can also do, and what I forgot, one of our other clients, what they do also is to help the blog, is they'll have the newsletter they may talk about lighting, a certain type of lighting or a certain type of material that they have for the kitchen for that specific project that they had worked on. And then if they want more information, they may say, well, we did more detailed information in our blog. So they may have the high level information in the newsletter saying like, this is what we did. But if you want the details, look at our blog. So that's actually driving traffic to your blog and to your website. So that's another way that you can use that we use for our client, and that works very well. Do high level in the newsletter, detailed in the blog. So that's another way as well.
So it's definitely not bad to have your blog content in your newsletter.
No.
You just have to do it in a tasteful way where you're providing value.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Exactly. That's what we're all about. Just as long as it's value based, because if it's not value oriented, what'll happen is your open rates will drop. Because after a while, they'll start seeing a whole lot of self-promotion that's not about the end user, it's about you. And they'll be like, okay, no, you need to make it about the end user all the time. Make it about the end user. And you will see your open rates go up.
That actually brings me to another question, Jason. What are you looking for out of your email marketing, like stats wise? Like you mentioned open rates. I think most people understand what that means. How many people open the email versus how many people you send it to. We also look at click rates, click-through rates, those kinds of things.
Right.
Is there anything that you would like suggest looking at in the stats area?
Okay. The average, honestly, the average is in between 15 and 20%. That's the average. That's like the industry average, about 15 to 20%. If you get over 20%, most of our clients average about in between 40 and about 55%. And that's because we're actually intentional about how we add people to their list. So we also, and then this is what we also do. If after about 6 months, if they aren't opening our email, we'll actually send them an email and ask them, and we'll actually ask the end user questions. Like, what are you not finding about, the newsletter that is interesting to you? Do you just want us to take us off because we see for the last few months you haven't opened up our newsletter? And so we have found that helps a lot. That either they'll say, oh man, you actually see I exist. I'm just not a number. You actually interested in what I have to say. And that's had other people start to open the newsletter or open the email more often. Or they may have offered up a suggestion that we've added that had not only them, but had others start to open up the newsletter. Or on the other end, they just may say, I just don't have time. I, liked it at the start, but now I don't have the time. So I just, take me off the list. So as you, every few months, check with your list that's not opening your email and actually ask them the question, you'll see your open rates go up and the engagement will happen more often as well.
Oh, that's phenomenal. That's really, really good advice, because it's a double. I mean, there's a lot of factors, but two very important factors that you're saying to open rates, to getting your emails opened, is not just the subject line. I mean, subject line is always super important, but segmentation, basically. Who are you sending these emails to? People that really are engaged or people that aren't engaged, and getting the unengaged back engaged is really important.
Yep. And you actually touched on something I was going to actually touch on at the end, which I can touch on now. But email segmentation. So what we talk about when you segment your list. So this is, if you do not have the time, what I'm about to say now, don't even worry about this. But if you hire somebody, this is what they should do. But so for each of your, so you should have a list for, you should have an email list for your actual clients, for the clients you have now, for your past clients, for your prospects, and then for the allies, for like allied field, whether that be, your colleagues or anything like that. So each of the newsletters could be sent to each of them, and it can seem a little more personalized. And they're more apt to open it when they feel the information is directly for them. And honestly, even though it is a little more work, it's not a lot, because we do this for, a lot of our clients, and we still have the same framework in terms of the information, but just, changing up some of the headers, changing up some of the content a little here and there can easily segment that into different audiences. And that actually has the open rate higher, because it seems like the email is more personalized to each of the audience as opposed to doing a mass email to everybody.
No, that makes a ton of sense. Yeah, this is so great. I'm learning things. I hope everyone else is learning things.
All right. So the next one is what everybody talks about. This is the topic that everybody talks about: social media. So the first thing I have to say about social media, you need to be on social media, but you do not need to be on all of them. So when I say that, if I had to choose two of them that you want to try to be on, I would say Facebook and Instagram for, interior designers and remodelers, because those are the one. And I would say after that, I'll say Pinterest would be next, but do not try to put content out on every single platform. That if you're doing this for yourself, do not try to put this content out on every platform. No. What I would suggest, focus on one platform, whether that be Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest, LinkedIn, whatever that platform is. Focus on that platform, and then curate the content for all the other platforms. So what I mean about curate, so you could just have whatever you focus on the main platform, you could take aspects of that where you just have like either a small snippet, or you may have a link to the article, whatever, for the other platform, just so you could be posting on the other platforms. But you want to focus where you want to build up the audience, build up the community, build up the engagement on only one platform. And for the tip here, you want to use software. There's a lot of them out here. They have Hootsuite. There's a lot of them out there, but we use Zoho. And so that's what you can use, where when you do, so when I said you want to focus on one and you want to curate the rest. So for all the other ones that you curate, you can have one post and then have it in Zoho or Hootsuite and send it out to all of them at the same time. So what we do, we create a content calendar for our clients where it's actually ironed out, it's lined out for the month. This is what we're going to post about. This is the topic of the month. So we may have a topic about lighting. We may have a topic about, materials, texture, products, furniture, whatever. Whatever the topic is, we'll have a topic around the month, and we'll have content heading out around it. Or we may have it around a project that they're working on that they want to highlight. And so we'll have that ironed out for the month. And we have all of the posts scheduled in that platform, so it heads out automatically. So it's not a whole lot of extra work, but we spend time on the one they want to focus on, where we do original information, original content, where we build up the community, build up the engagement on that one platform. And so that's what I see happen too often, is that designers and remodelers, they try to be on every platform, which you can be on every platform, but you don't want to post original content on every platform. You want to engage on one and then curate the rest.
That's a really good point.
I hope that makes sense.
Yeah, I've talked to a lot of designers about how often they should be posting. They feel like a lot of pressure to post every day. What I've seen work better, which is I think what you're getting at, is you have to make sure that the content is what your base is looking for, what your audience is looking for.
Right.
And again, it's providing value. So it doesn't matter how exactly, it doesn't matter like necessarily how often. It matters more about the content that you're providing.
Right. And what we do for a lot of our clients for the main platform that they want to use, whether that be Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, whatever, we spend more time creating original content, and we may only post 3 to 4 times a week on that platform, on that specific platform. And we're building up the likes, we're building up the community, the engagement, and you'll see that if you was to head into one of our client profile, you'll see whatever we post in there is always getting a lot of likes and shares, because we're actually targeting the audience that they want to target with information they want to hear about. And then we actually curate that information on all the other platforms. So we may write about, like I said, lighting, and we may take that one post and we may break it up into 4 different posts on all the other platforms, where we can actually post on all the others every day. But it's not us spending a lot of time on it. We already did the information for that one platform that we're going to spend a lot of time on, but then we just took aspects of it to post on all the other platforms every day.
Yeah, that makes sense too. Oh, that's really good.
Yeah.
I think we're good on questions for now for social media.
Okay. Next one is video content. This is one, video, if you are not doing video in some sense, you're losing out, because video is one of the highest consumed forms of content on the internet. YouTube is by far, after Google, is YouTube. YouTube, because people want to learn about DIY, they want to do it yourself tips, they want to how to do it yourself. They want to learn visually by video, not by reading. So video is the best way for you to differentiate yourselves from others, because when we work with clients, one of the first things we say is, who can we have do a video? Who can we have on camera? Whether that's the owner or that's one of the people that work with them, we want to have somebody on camera so the end user or the prospect can identify with your company by that. Because a lot of the time when they go to your website, they go to your social media platform, they'll see all these great images. They'll see great images like, this is great. But at the same time, you're going to have another interior designer in your area, or another architect, remodeler in your area that also has great images. But if you have video that shows your personality, shows like who you are, you're gonna have people connect with you, and they're gonna identify with you. And we like to say, and this is so true, people buy from others they know, like, and trust. It's hard for anyone to know, like, and trust an image or a website or a social media platform. That's why the testimonials help. But if you could be on video and they can learn who you are, learn what your personality is all about, now you differentiate yourself from all the other designers and remodelers out there. And now you start to brand yourself. So video by far is what we get all of our clients to do. We help out, a lot with that. We do a lot of the video editing on our end, but we just help them get, the video accomplished so they can build their own brand. And what I have here for a tip, you want to define your unique value proposition. And so that's saying about what actually differentiates you from everybody else. So you want to tell your story, and it's easier to do that in video than it is in text, because as you know, our attention span nowadays is short. Like they say, it's only about 8 seconds. So if you do a video and it's engaging and, people connect with your personality, now they're drawn to you. They want to see more of your content and you're staying top of mind. You differentiate yourself from everybody else. I can't say enough about video.
So we have a good question here. How professional does our video content need to be?
That's all relative. That heads back, honestly, that heads back to what we talked about at first. Who's your audience? So if your audience is, say for instance, if you define your audience as the average Joe, or if you define your audience as a blue collar worker, then it may not need to be as polished or as professional as if you define your audience as a white collar worker or as a professional or something like that. So that really depends on who the audience is. And so that's what I would say first. But at the same time, even if you have a lot of general videos that are not professional or polished, you should have a few, or you should have either it's the main video on your website or the main video on your social media platform, whatever that main video is, that one should be professional. And then the others can be more about your personality and get to have them know who you are. But you want to at least have one or a few of them that are professional. And then depending on your audience, you can, have it on who your audience is, really.
Yeah, I've actually seen a lot of good video from interior designers that have been the behind the scenes of their projects, and I've seen that do really well, to really grow their following. And those don't have to be, produced or anything. Those can just be taken, from the job site. So that's just one of the fun examples I've seen interior designers really lean into. All right, I think that's good on the video. Questions? Yeah. Uh-oh, Jason, can we hear you still? Let's make sure we can hear Jason. Jason, can you hear me? Oh, he's logging. There he goes. He's logging back in.
Okay, you can hear me now?
Yeah, there you go.
Okay. Yeah, my computer went through an update. So you talk about technology, and then it threw the audio off. So
beautiful.
So this what happened when you do a live recording.
that is very 2020. Yeah. That's a very 2020 moment right there. I think we just lived through.
Yeah. So did I answer all of the questions that was on video content?
Yeah, you're good for video.
Okay. So the next one I would say would be reviews. Reviews, like I had talked about, that was when we were talking about websites, testimonials. So what actually differentiates you a lot from a lot of the other designers and remodelers out there is the reviews. So you want to get as many reviews as you can. And it's easy to do, honestly. A lot of the times when we talk to clients and they don't have reviews, a lot of times they just haven't asked their clients for the review. So it's easy while you're actually closing out the project, assuming that everything went well and you had a good end to a project, ask the client for a review. And if possible, if they're open to it, see if they could do a video review. And if you're in their home and you have your mobile device there, video them if they're open to it and if they're open to sharing it, because that's the best reviews that you can get. So what I would say as a tip here, there's a link. If you do not have Google My Business, make sure you click on that link so you could set up Google My Business. And so that's a link. Once you have that, you could send that link to any of your current past clients, and then they can write a review on you. Because that, at a minimum, if you don't do anything else, I know I've said that before, but you want to make sure that you are on Google My Business and that you have that you have a link that you can send out to your client.
Do you recommend Yelp or Alignable as well, or is it Google the main one that we should be focused on?
Yelp for designers and remodelers is not as important. Alignable, that's more so for professionals. I would say by far, Google is number one. I would say I would put Google number one. After that, honestly, I would say House. I would say House would be number two. So I would say Google, then House, and then all the other ones after that. But Yelp, I would say honestly, Yelp you don't really have to worry about, mainly for designers and remodelers. What we've seen from our own experience, not a lot of end users go to Yelp looking for remodelers or designers. It happens. Now, I'm not saying it doesn't happen at all. It happens, but it's very rare. It's very rare. You'll find more so on, you need to put your emphasis on Google and House.
Agreed.
Okay. Digital partnerships. Now, this is one that we find that a lot of designers ignore. And there are partnerships that you may already have that you're not utilizing the right way. So if you don't have your own showroom, 9 times out of 10, you have a showroom that you work with. You may have a manufacturer, you may have a furniture, manufacturer that you work with more often than not. You may have a manufacturing rep that you work with a lot. If you haven't already, reach out to them and see if there's any ways that you can do joint JV, joint partnerships, or how you can market each other, or you could cross promote each other's services. And we find that that's an easy way for you to get references, or for you to actually grow your brand, because now it's harder if you are to align with another designer or another remodeler, unless y'all do not do the same exact services. So for instance, we actually have an interior designer that we work with that she doesn't do any rendering. And so she actually works with an interior designer that's all she does, whether it's hand rendering or, computer generated CAD or Rivet or whatever. And she doesn't like to deal with the client, and the other interior designer does. So they work together, but that's not as often. We find that more often than not, you want to JV partner with, like I said, a manufacturer. If you don't have your own showroom, you want to tag team with them so you could cross promote, and you will find, and we found that it's easy to get a lot of referrals that way because you're helping each other out.
Yeah, I would strongly recommend doing that. And it's funny how you don't know what you don't know until you talk to somebody else who's had different experiences than you in the industry, and they can really, really help you out. I know it's harder than ever now during the current circumstances, but there's still ways. There's still networking opportunities. Unfortunately, most of them are online right now, but they're there.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And the next one we have, the 9th one, is on the chatbot. So this one is growing in popularity. The chatbot, when it came out a few years ago, it didn't have an AI like it has now. It was not as intelligent as it is now. Now, a lot of the chatbots, they are very intelligent, and they can adapt to what the end user is actually trying to type in. And there are a lot of chatbots out there. I won't go over. There's a lot of them. That's why I have a link here that that's a website where they were viewed the top 10, but there's a lot more than the top 10. But I would say do your research, because each of them have their own features. They have different pricing. Some you could try it out for free up to a certain amount of users. So I would say do your research on that, but having a chat bot just helps on your website, because a lot of time the end user comes to your site and they may just have, they just may have a general, general question that they can't find on the tabs or on your website, that they could type in, like, what are your office hours, or what are your hours of operation? That may not be readily available, that they could type that in and be like, oh, it's 8 to 5, Monday through Friday. We're open half day on the weekends or whatever. Or they may ask, what are your services? And it may have a link that heads to your services page, or just to have something like that. The more engaged you can have the end user, the more likely they are to come back to your website. And the longer they're on your website, that also helps with SEO. That also helps, like I said, with search engine optimization, because they track how long users are on your website. So having chatbots, that also helps with that too.
I thought this was super interesting that you included this in marketing. I thought I would never have expected this to be one of the tips, and I think it's so important. We're actually trying this out. We've had a chat on our website for a few years now, but bringing in more AI to it, so there's less human interaction on the background for simple questions, is really important.
And one of our clients, you'll be surprised, actually got a client that way, because the prospect was looking at different interior designers in the area, looked at her website, and he had a lot of questions that the chatbot answered. And he said that aspect took him over the top, because he was able to get a lot of the questions answered where he didn't want to talk to nobody, because he didn't want to reach out to any of the designers and be sold. he just wanted to find out information on his own, and the chatbot answered a lot of his questions. So, now that was not the norm, but I just say that did happen.
Yeah, I think it's super interesting. Love it.
And then the last one here, we have about quality links, on authority website, and this is about listicles. And so what this is when you have a lot of information, and we've been talking about blogging and all of that, a lot of time, like I said, most end users, visitors, they don't like to read. So the easier you can make the information to consume, the better. So if you can have lists, and there's a lot of sites out there, and we have a site on here that's Design Listicle, where it has a lot of topics where you could look on their site to see if there's a certain topic that you're an expert at, where you may be able to add in your expertise and list. And if you get it listed on their site, you can have a link back to your website or back to your social media platform or to wherever. So just that small thing, just looking for, lists around your topic area, what you're an expert at, whether that be, like I said, if there's a certain style that you like to specialize in, if there's a certain service that you offer that others do not offer. 9 times out of 10, there's a site or a service or a list out there that you can contribute to and show your expertise, and then get your information or a link back to your site.
Yeah, this is also something that used to be more popular, and then now it's more in the background of marketing, but I do think it's important. And building the partnerships also kind of goes hand in hand with this, always asking for that link referral. So if you have somebody that you do work with a lot, and they have some kind of a directory, like Jason's saying, it's awesome just to send them an email and say, hey, do you mind putting me up there? And that just tells Google over and over again that you're an important authority in your space.
Right. So now the top 2 tips, I would say, if you don't do anything else from what I had talked about, I would say social media and video. I would say a strong number 3 would be email, because that does not take as much time to do, and it's not as expensive. But social media, because that's where a lot of your visitors or your ideal prospects are. They're on social media. And video. And why I have these 2 on here, because they work well together. So if you can focus on one profile, one platform, whether that be Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest, whatever, you want to complete the profile. What we find a lot of times, I cannot stress this enough. Make sure you complete the profile. You fill out whether it's your Instagram profile, and if you have Instagram, make sure you have an Instagram business profile, not just a personal, but a business. Also, if you do Facebook, make sure you have a Facebook business profile and complete it. Make sure you fill out all the information about your hours of operation, your website, who you are, have a description. You'll be surprised how many clients we have worked with that did not complete their profile. And if you was to search, a lot of times in smaller areas, your social media profile may actually be on the search engine faster than your website. But if your profile is not complete, then that won't happen. So make sure you complete the profile. Think about the content calendar for the month. Showcase your work. Use this website, hashtagify.me. So a lot of times we're asked, what hashtag should we use for Facebook and Instagram? Look at Hashtagify because it will list out, and they actually have a free option. I forgot for up to how many, but you can use that for free, and it'll show you how many visitors are actually typing in that hashtag. So use that. Stay active. You want to join communities. So whatever platform you choose, whether that be Facebook, Instagram, find communities that you have, a symbiotic relationship with. Join them and comment on what's happening in the group. Like, share, comment, offer your expertise. Don't promote, but just offer value. And what's going to happen over time, you're going to have people saying, oh man, you've been offering me, a whole lot of value. Who are you? What do you do? And then they'll start asking about you. So go live with designers and influencers. This, something that we recommend too with, a lot of the interior designers that do video and that like to be on video, whether they do Facebook Live, Instagram Live. If there are other influencers out there, or how we had talked about the JV, if there's a showroom that you're, partner up with, or if there's a manufacturer that you're partner up with, if you do a live together, now you just doubled your reach, because now everyone that they have access to, you have access to, and vice versa, and everybody they know that they're not directly connected to, you have access to, so you have a broader reach. And whenever they have a new feature, especially like in Instagram now, is Reels. Reels is like Reels is Instagram answer to TikTok, where it's like a 10-second, it's either 10 to 15-second video to music. If you do any of the new features, they will actually promote your information over everybody else because you're using the new feature. And so we actually have some clients that are doing Reels, and their count in terms of the number of followers is growing exponentially because they're doing Reels, and their information is being put out there beyond just their regular community. And then in terms of video, like I have here, make sure you have a clear message. You want to make sure your message is clear. Define who that is, whether that be how to. Like I said from the start, you want to have your defined target audience, that avatar. Do not make long, boring videos. Get to the point, have a clear call to action. So at the end of the video, make sure that if you want to have them like, share, if you want to have them visit your website, visit your blog, tell them. A lot of the time, I can't tell you how many times I've seen videos where it's a great video, but there's no call to action at the end. So I've seen it and I don't know what to do. Like, okay, should I subscribe? Should I like? Because they haven't told me. Tell people what you want them to do. You want to add titles, captions, descriptions to all of your videos, because that's how you get found. Because in YouTube and Vimeo and all of that, they also have they also have search engine optimization within their algorithm. So having that in there, you want to tell your story. So that heads back to having a defined story. What is the overall purpose of the video? So it's not overly, so it's not a sales pitch. If you have a story and if you have a reason behind it, your energy, your personality, the whole reason behind the video will show. And then when you have the call to action, it's going to be more likely that they're going to do whatever you say. Whatever you do the video on, focus on one message at a time, not multiple. If you have multiple, do multiple videos and check the stats. So you want to, every video you do, you want to check the stats. So there's for YouTube, and I didn't have this link in there, but it's called TubeBuddy. So you want to install that into your YouTube channel. So every video you do, it actually lets you know how many people watched it, how long they watched it, where they watched it from. So you could get all of the analytics so you can see what you did right, what you did wrong, what you need to enhance. So if you don't do anything else, I would say social media and video and combine those, that will help you out.
Is TubeBuddy, is that something that you just install right on the channel there?
Yes, and they actually have a free option. So they have a paid. We have the paid option to see all the analytics, but you don't need the paid for individual designer. You don't need to have the paid. We have it at the agency because we see multiple clients, whatever. But for an individual designer remodeler, you don't need to have the paid option. You can get the free option, and that's really all you need.
Oh, that's awesome. That's new. That is new tool to me, so I'll have to check that out as well. Cool.
All right. And then just a little about who we are. We are a full digital marketing agency. We do everything you have on the screen, like I have here on the screen: SEO, social media marketing, PPC, renderings, PR, and renderings because, like I said, I'm also the part owner of an architecture firm, and honestly, renderings, we just added that in this year because a lot of our clients were outsourcing renderings, and we didn't ever think to offer that because we thought, a lot of the interior designers that we work with already had that, but we saw that a lot of them was outsourcing. And since we do renderings for our architecture firm, we started to offer that here. And so why us? If you're looking for help, we know the industry, like we had talked about, I have over 20 years experience in the industry, having been in the field, done architecture, interior design. I've taught architecture and interior design. My team has experience. A lot of, the people on my team are, they actually have, interior design experience. So they have that in their background as well. We're members of the NKBA. Let me see what else. All of our clients that we work with year over year, they average about, a 40% gain every year. Even now, one of our clients that we have brought on this year, and we're going to do an Instagram live with him next week, actually. We had brought him on in May, and he was a little skeptical because of what's been happening with the coronavirus. And he reached out to me last month and said, "This is amazing." And he did a video testimonial for me. And I said, "Okay, we need to have you on Instagram Live." So even now, we're having a successful clients, and we care. But since we know this industry, we know the ins and outs. So we don't have to do, because a lot of what you hear with a lot of marketing agencies is they have to test, they have to do A/B testing. We don't have to do a lot of that because we've been at this for so long that we only work with interior designers and remodelers. We don't have to do a lot of testing, and we know what works. We have clients all across the U.S., so we know the industry. So if you want to work with us, we're here for you. And if not, go to our site and look at our resource library. That's this link here with the resource library. we actually produce information every week. We have over 150 pages of information on our site on social media, PPC, reputation, video. We have training videos because every other week we do a training video with our local in National Kitchen and Bath Association. We do a training with them and we record that and we have that in the resource library. We do a monthly webinar and I'm going to, talk about that. Next month, we're going to do a webinar on planning, developing a marketing plan for 2021. And this is what we do with our own clients. So that's what we're going to do next month. So we do a monthly webinar every month. So take a look at our resource library. We have a lot of information. So whether you work with us or not, we have a lot of information that can help you now. Okay. And that is it. Any questions? I know I'm a little over. And then sorry, I actually had my computer update in the middle of all this and my audio went out for a little while.
I know we actually don't have that many questions. I think what we did was we tackled most questions during it. I know we're short on time here because we usually like to keep it to an hour.
Okay.
So do you want to just have me do the winners, I think?
Yeah, and this is what's going to happen for the winners. So we're going to have 3 winners. They're going to get, this month, I actually wrote a book on marketing. And so I did this for one of the clients I've had for years. She had mentioned to me last year that I need to write a book because she said you can't work with everybody in the industry, but you have information that can help everybody. And so she was on me for a year to actually write this book. And I actually had the time because of the coronavirus, because I actually had time now to write. So I actually wrote the book. So it's also on Audible, and you're going to get an Audible code to the whole book because I actually have a friend in New Hampshire who did the audio version of them, so it's on Audible. And you're going to also get, for each of the winners, we're going to do an hour-long implementation session, not strategy implementation. So we're going to look at your site. We're going to look at your at everything you offer, social media, all of that, and we're going to hand you guide steps. This is what you need to do to enhance.
Oh, that's so awesome. And I actually started Jason's book and it's very interesting. It's very similar to what we heard today. Very actionable steps, very down to earth. Things that people can really reach out, and it's not something super expensive that needs to be, really planned out, but there's a range. Some things are more expensive than others. So yeah, it has a lot of great things in there. We actually have a couple questions. I'm going to actually shoot those to Jason, via email, and I'll copy both parties and we can finish up there because I want to call the winners and I want to let people get days because I feel like if I open it up, Jason and I could just sit here for another hour and talk more and more and more about marketing because it's so refreshing to do. But I'll make sure that everybody's questions get shot over to Jason. That's no problem. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and I'm just going to do it old school. I'm going to pick some names out of a hat here. So I know, it's very high tech. My first winner is Diane Hendricks. So I'm going to make sure that Diane Hendricks is still on with us. Yes, she is. Okay, awesome. So I will be sending an email to Jason and Diane to introduce you guys. And then that way we can give the code and get you set up for the hour. All right, so our second winner here is going to be Meg Lelly. I think that's how you pronounce that. Let me make sure she's still here. Yes, okay, great, excellent. So Meg Lelly is our second winner, and then third winner, okay, picking this out here, Kate Grussing. Let's make sure that Kate's still here. Yes, okay, excellent. We have 3 winners. So Diane, Meg, and Kate, you will all be getting emails specifically, and I will introduce you to Jason, and then he can hook you up from there. So, and please don't forget that Jason is doing a webinar, and I believe it's on the screen right now, right? for
Yep,
Wednesday,
December
December
16th.
16th. If you want to check out his webinar, I'm sure that'll be super interesting as well. But thank you so much, Jason, for joining us. I think your experience is so perfect for our audience. And thank you to our audience for hanging in there for an hour and 20 minutes
Yes.
today. We
Yes.
really appreciate everybody's time. So thank you. All right, Jason.
Yeah. I
Hopefully we'll
appreciate everybody's time. If you have any questions, email me. Feel free to reach out.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you, everybody.
Have a good day.
You too.